All right, this is a video that has far-reaching implications and ramifications, and I'm going to explain that as we proceed. But the long and the short of it is, I put a post in my community tab on my YouTube channel with this meme right here that says, Trump supporters be like, he didn't say that. If he did, he didn't mean that. If he did, you didn't understand it. And if you did, it's not a big deal. And if it is, others have said worse. Now, this isn't just relegated to people who support Trump. This applies to anybody who considers any politician some kind of savior. I want to read you what I wrote in the post, and then I want to go over some comments, and then I want to bring the receipts of why I believe what I believe about Donald Trump. It's actually not a belief. It's fact. It's knowledge based on fact. So I wrote, ever notice that people who engage in the political process will say the darndest and dumbest things to support a candidate they know is just as dishonest and corrupt as any other candidate? So what I said there was every politician is dishonest and corrupt, not just Donald Trump. So I want to read to you this first statement right here by Czar. He says, as our country is being invaded and money, space, and time is being given to illegals, Brian gets into his Trump derangement syndrome. Now, Trump derangement syndrome, it's a pejorative and it's used to basically discredit any kind of criticism of Donald Trump. Trump derangement syndrome is this extreme hatred of Donald Trump that's so intense that it impairs a person's judgment. Now, I've seen this exhibited a lot, and it's not just a deranged mentality against Donald Trump, but anybody who a person doesn't like. I've seen Obama derangement syndrome. I've seen this Trump derangement syndrome. I'm seeing Joe Biden derangement syndrome. They can tell you why they hate Obama or why they hate Trump or why they hate Biden, but basically what it is just a regurgitation of mainstream media talking points. They don't really have a foothold on the truth of what's actually wrong with Donald Trump and Obama and Clinton and Ronald Reagan and Richard Nixon and Joe Biden. They just regurgitate what they've heard on fake streams, CIA infiltrated, Operation Mockingbird, MK Ultra media. So this accusation that somebody has Trump derangement syndrome or any derangement syndrome is basically a tool of the cognitively dissonant who don't want to consider that there might exist valid concerns and criticisms of their man. This person says the fact that the establishment is so firmly against Trump should tell you something. Not really. All you see in politics and all you've ever seen in politics is mainstream media taking a side. They're for the Democrats or they're for the Republicans. Rarely will you see, especially in our day and age, any kind of unbiased reporting that just seeks the truth and speaks the truth and holds the powerful to account. It should not be lost on any of us that the political process is basically a WWE dog and pony show under the big top. So when you see fake stream media, Fox News against Obama or against Biden, it's all a part of the dog and pony show. And I don't understand what people don't understand about this. Kelly says, and vote for the same for the next 4 years is the solution, not a chance. Let's go, Brandon. Let's go, Brandon is basically F Joe Biden, and let's vote for Donald Trump. This person says, dude, read the room. Joseph says, spoken like a true commie. We're going to get to that in a second. First person says, guess you're voting for Biden then? How do you get I'm voting for Biden when I say that your candidate is just as corrupt and dishonest as any other candidate? Paisley says, you just lost a subscriber and you have a rude awakening coming. Well, stay tuned, Paisley, because I think the rude awakening will be happening, but it's probably not something you might be expecting. For example, what if I told you that Obama and Biden were bought and paid for by the Rothschilds banking cartel? That's all you would need to know to realize, hey, Biden and Obama are on Team Bankster and they're not on Team America. But wait till you find out who the Rothschilds really bought off. My voice says, here's the deal. If you want to talk politics, be prepared to lose a percentage of your subscribers. And I agree. I am not political. I will speak out against every politician because I know that they're liars. I know that they employ lawyers. I know they're public relations specialists. Politics is now and will always be the clever and deceptive art of using euphemisms, lies, emotionalism, and fear-mongering in order to dupe average people into accepting and even demanding the chains of their own enslavement. When you involve yourself in politics and you believe your political hero is the guy who's going to strengthen America and help out the little guy, you're under a delusion. He also says, didn't you understand what happened to Bud Light and Target? Supporting either presidential candidate has nothing to do with what laws get passed or amended affecting local, state, or federal law enforcement. Will Cutt says, you are way too political, always bad-mouthing people you don't agree with. When it is cops, they deserve it. But I don't come here to listen to your opinion on politics every day. Unsubscribing. Wait till you see what Trump thinks about cops. And I hope you see it before you unsubscribe. And the last one, you just lost your credibility. Well, credibility is earned by being trustworthy, and you lose credibility by lying. So let's get into the truth of the matter here. Trump wants additional federal indemnity protections for all police officers. He says, we're going to indemnify them. In other words, we're going to hold them guiltless even when they commit their crimes, so they don't lose their wife, their family, their pension, and their job. Maybe cops need to lose their wife and their family and their pension and their job. And maybe, just maybe, cops who commit criminal acts against Americans that they're supposed to be protecting and serving, maybe they need some jail time, Trump. So if you're voting for Donald Trump, you're voting for somebody who wants to hold cops guiltless when they commit crimes against the rest of us. Trump is for ERPOs, or extreme risk protection orders, or red flag laws. Red flag laws are anti-Second Amendment laws.
We are outraged and sickened by this monstrous evil,
offering a solution to stopping gun violence.
That is why I have called for red flag laws, also known as extreme risk protection orders.
So when you're supporting Trump or Biden or any presidential candidate, you got to know that those presidential candidates, including Trump, are against the Second Amendment. If they're against the Second Amendment, they're against your right to protect yourself, your fundamental, unalienable right to protect yourself. And let me just remind you, the very first red flag law that went into effect in Maryland resulted in the death of Gary Willis, who wanted to defend his home, and the cops took his life anyway. That's what Trump is for. So if you're for Trump, you're for red flag laws, which means you're against the Second Amendment. Trump banned bump stocks. And a lot of people are like, who cares? That doesn't matter. I don't even know what bump stocks are. I never even heard of them until I found out that Trump banned them. Do you realize banning bump stocks means the criminalization of hundreds of thousands of Americans who own bump stocks? So what Trump did when he banned the bump stocks is he criminalized hundreds of thousands of Americans that he's supposed to be there protecting and serving, which is a violation also of the Second Amendment. If you're voting for Trump, you're voting for, I like take the guns first, due process second.
Or might take the firearms first and then go to court, because that's another system. Because a lot of times by the time you go to court, it takes so long to go to court to get the due process procedures. I like taking the guns early, like in this crazy man's case that just took place in Florida. He had a lot of firearms. They saw everything. To go to court would have taken a long time. So you could do exactly what you're saying, but take the guns first, go through due process second.
Take the guns first. Take the guns first is what a tyrant would say. If you're voting for Trump, if you're voting for Biden, you're voting for tyrants. And don't give me this lesser of the two evils nonsense. If you choose the lesser of two evils, you are still making the decision to choose evil. Is there not another choice? Like, how about doing the righteous thing, doing the good thing, doing the noble thing, and not voting for evil at all? Another thing is, with the national debt, Obama increased the national debt 8.6 trillion in 8 years. Trump increased the national debt 8.4 trillion in 4 years. Is this me saying that makes Obama better than Trump? Not at all. If you're increasing the national debt, what you're actually doing is diminishing the value of every American's time and labor. It used to be before Trump got elected, he was for quantitative tightening. In other words, stop printing money and make sure that the money we have, the M2 money supply, actually retains its value so that every unit that Americans earn is actually worth something. And then when he became president, he moved away from quantitative tightening to calling for massive quantitative easing. In other words, print the money, lower the interest rates. Let's get this economy going, which basically is saying, I don't give a damn about your time and labor, Americans. I'm going to diminish it and devalue it. And this 8.4 trillion doesn't even take into account the 6.2 trillion that he signed away from Americans toward the banking cartels, toward the big pharma industrial complex, toward the military industrial complex, and away from Americans. Listen to this. He's going to sign with one signature. He's going to sign away $6.2 trillion while mainstream media says it's just 2.2 trillion. Listen to this.
Now, I'm going to sign this, and it's a great honor. $6.2 trillion. I've never signed anything with a T on it. I don't know if I can handle this one, Mitch. We can't chicken out at this point, can we? I don't think so, huh? All right, thank you all.
Now we're going to watch them sign this 5,100-page document that nobody read. Watch what he does when he gets rid of the pen. Watch the second person he gives the
But
pen to.
I wanted that to be a nice signature.
First pen goes to Mitch McConnell. Second pen goes to who? Goldman Sachs bankster, Treasury Secretary Steve Mnuchin. It is a big club and you ain't in it. This is the Rothschilds banking cartel taking firm control, even more firm control over America and Americans. So when you're voting for Donald Trump, you're pro-bankster. You're also pro-military industrial complex because Trump gave the Pentagon one of the biggest increases it has seen in decades. Remember, we were warned by Eisenhower of the danger of the military industrial complex. You remember a day before 9/11? They found that there's $2.3 trillion that were missing from the Pentagon coffers. So there's massive waste going on, and Trump gave them even more money so that they could waste even more American taxpayer dollars. Trump also promotes law enforcement legalized armed robbery under civil asset forfeiture. So when you're voting for Trump, you're voting for the practice that seized $87,000 from Stephen Lara and millions of other Americans. Civil asset forfeiture nets federal, state, and local authorities $14.1 billion every single year. That doesn't even count traffic tickets. And this is what Donald Trump is for. This is what he supports. Civil asset forfeiture of the American tax cattle. He's basically saying, hey, law enforcement, have at it. Don't worry. We're going to hold you guiltless. We're going to indemnify you. That qualified immunity shield that you got under the Trump administration, it's going to be stronger and more powerful for the police and against the Americans that they abuse. And let me remind you that Operation Warp Speed Donald Trump actually called himself the father of the VAXX.
And look, I guess in a certain way, I'm the father of the vaccine because I was the one that pushed it. You know, to get it done in less than 9 months was a miracle. Fauci said it would take 3 to 5 years.
So he's patting himself on the back for the you-know-what. Is this what you're for? Is this what you support? Now, remember when I asked you, what would you think about Obama and Biden if all you knew about them was that they were bailed out by the Rothschilds banking cartel? Well, guess who actually was bailed out by the Rothschilds banking cartel? And I don't know, maybe Obama and Biden were. It doesn't even matter with them because, you know, they're yahoos anyway. They're clearly bankster puppets anyway, and you can see that by their actions. But Donald Trump was bailed out by this man right here named Wilbur Ross. Wilbur Ross is a former head of the Rothschilds Inc. bankruptcy advising team. And Wilbur Ross, under Rothschilds Inc., bailed out Donald Trump when he got upside down with Taj Mahal in Atlantic City. 25 years later, when Trump becomes president, he makes Wilbur Ross the Commerce Secretary. Yes, indeed, it is a big club, and you and I ain't in it. Donald Trump is, though. Biden is, though. Hillary is. Oh, and speaking of Hillary, you remember when Donald Trump rightly called her a nasty woman?
But what we want to do is to replenish the Social Security Trust Fund.
Remember when Donald Trump called Hillary crooked?
I believe, actually, they are more crooked than crooked Hillary. I really do. That's a lot.
You remember when he said that if he became president, Hillary Clinton would be in jail?
It's just awfully good that someone with the temperament of Donald Trump is not in charge of the law in our country.
Yeah, because you'd be in jail.
Secretary Clinton.
So Hillary Clinton would be in jail? You know that these people are lifelong friends. They hang out in the same clubs together. They do the same things together. They go party together. They go golfing together. They're best buds. And people are like, well, that's before he became president. Everything changed after he became president. Really? On the very day he was inaugurated, listen to the glowing words that he has for Slick Willie and Hillary.
You know, I'll tell you, there is something that I wanted to say, because I was very honored, very, very honored, when I heard that President Bill Clinton and Secretary Hillary Clinton was coming today. And I think it's appropriate to say, and I'd like you to stand up. I'd like you to stand up.
Doesn't this kind of make you sick? I mean, doesn't this turn your stomach? He's leading a room full. President Donald Trump, the 45th president of the United States, just got inaugurated. And after saying that Hillary's a nasty, nasty woman, she's crooked, rightly saying, man, if I was president, you'd be jailed. Right after the inauguration, he leads a room full of dignitaries to a standing ovation for Bill and Hillary Clinton. And then listen to what he says after he leads them in a standing ovation. Look at her smiling. Look at Nazi Pelosi back there. Listen to this.
And honestly, there's...
Now, let me ask you, Paisley, would you unsubscribe to me if I was leading a room full of dignitaries and do a standing ovation for the Clintons? Would you unsubscribe to me if you heard me say this about the Clintons?
And honestly, there's nothing more I can say, because I have a lot of respect for those two people. So thank you all for being here.
I got a lot of respect for those two people right there. Bill and Hillary, got a lot of respect for them. You know, those people that I hang out with Ghislaine Maxwell and Jeffrey, you know who? Yep, it is a big club, and you ain't in it. Speaking of the big club, you know who else is in Trump's big club? Henry Warmonger Kissinger, longtime respected friend of President Donald Trump.
Thank you very much. Henry Kissinger has been a friend of mine. I've liked him, I've respected him, but we've been friends for a long time, long before my emergence in the world of politics, which has not been too long. But we have been really in the, I guess you'd say, the New York seat a little bit, but we got to know each other very well. He's a man I have great, great respect for. He's also somebody, usually I say, have you ever been in the Oval Office? And with Henry Kissinger, I didn't bother asking that question, because he has been in this office many, many times. But it's an honor to have Dr. Kissinger with us, a man of immense talent and experience and knowledge, and I'm going to talk to him for a while, and we're going to learn a lot.
Yep, we're going to learn a lot. So talk to me about reduced credibility. Talk to me about my Trump derangement syndrome. Talk to me about how you're going to unsubscribe to me because I dared to. Talk to me about how I'm going to be the one to vote for Biden when they're like two peas in a pod. Biden is creating the same policies that Donald Trump does. Pro-IRS policies, pro-FBI policies, pro-CIA policies, pro-military industrial complex policies, pro-Federal Reserve policies. Ain't nothing going to change if we keep doing the same things that we've been doing. And not to mention, Trump is the one who actually instituted a national shutdown, and he extended it based on Anthony Fauci's recommendation. So tell me about reduced credibility. That's who Donald Trump is. That's why I take the position that I do against him. And that's why I bring the receipts, because, hopefully you won't unsubscribe from me. But if you do, make sure it's because I run contrary to the principles of individual liberty, the principles of freedom, the principles of America. If I come against America, if I come against freedom, by all means, unsubscribe. But if I call out tyrants who come against freedom and I bring the receipts, why the heck are you leaving? I mean, you're free to do whatever you want to do, but make sure it's based on a sound, rational, logical judgment based on the facts. Stop making accusations that people are embroiled in Trump derangement syndrome because they dare to criticize your overlord and savior. And this doesn't just go for people who follow Trump. This goes for people who are dyed-in-the-wool Biden supporters. Go figure that there would be anything like that. Or that continue to support Obama or RFK or any one of these political parasitic misfits who want the ring of power so that they can do the bidding of the people who are really in control of this country, the Federal Reserve. So if you're still sticking with me and you haven't unsubscribed, and if you haven't subscribed yet, subscribe to the channel, hit the bell notification icon, give it a thumbs up, share with everybody you know. Don't forget to subscribe to my email list through my website, highimpactflix.com. That's highimpactflix.com. If you want to support the channel further, grab one of these hard-hitting conversation starting designs you can put on a shirt, hoodie, mug, cell phone case, hat, whatever you want to. Become a channel member, but more importantly, know what your rights are. Know what the facts are. Know what's going on in this world. Make sure when you make a statement that you can bring the receipts. Make sure that you earn the credibility that you get. Make sure you don't lie and engage in deception. Make sure you know what your rights are and flex your rights. If you don't flex your rights, you will lose your rights. I will see you in the next video.